Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Make It Yourself. So today we are going to make these heart wands. They are the perfect gift for Valentine's Day. You can even turn these wands into key rings if you want, and if you know how to stitch, you can even stitch the initials of your loved ones onto the heart and use them as a gift item. So let's get started. So for the heart, we are going to use two type of yarn. So for the center part, I'm using this yarn of a different thickness, and for the border I'm using another yarn of a slightly lesser thickness. So the details of the yarn as well as the hook size and all the other items required to make this project will be available in the description of this video, so you can refer there as well. So the main point is we are using yarn of two sizes. The yarn to make the heart is a bit thicker, and the yarn used to make the border is a bit thinner. So we are going to start by making the heart first. So I'm using this red yarn. I'm going to start off by making a slip knot. So take the yarn and make a slip knot, and now we are going to chain 6. So make 6 chains. Chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now on the second chain from the hook, I'm going to make a single crochet on it. Similarly, on the next chain also I'm going to make a single crochet. So you need to make single crochet on all of the remaining chains, so that by the end of this row you should have a total of 5 single crochets. So here we are done with our first row and we're done with 5 single crochets. Now we are going to chain 1 and turn our work. So chain 1 and turn your work. Now into the first stitch, this is row number 2, into the first stitch we are going to make an increase. So to make an increase, make 2 single crochets into the same stitch. So we're making 2 single crochets in the first stitch, followed by 3 single crochets. So these next 3 single crochets we are making one stitch, one stitch in each of the stitches. So 3 single crochets in 3 stitches, and the last stitch again we are going to make an increase. So this is the last stitch. The last stitch is always a bit difficult to find. Just make sure you insert your hook into both the loops of the stitch. Now into this last stitch, make an increase, so you'll have to make 2 single crochets into the last stitch as well. So by the end of this row you will have a total of 7 single crochets. So we chain 1 and turn our work, and we start off by making an increase in the first stitch, and in between we will have 5 single crochets. So make 5 single crochets in the next 5 stitches, and into the last stitch again we are going to make an increase. So find the 2 loops of the last stitch here and then make 2 single crochets in the last stitch. And every time at the end of the row we are going to chain 1 and turn, which is a common step. So chain 1 and turn. And now for this row number 4, we're going to start off by making 8 single crochets in the next 8 stitches, and we have our increase at the end of the row, that is on the 9th stitch. So one thing to notice is that all the increases and decreases that will happen in this pattern will happen only at the starting and the ending stitches. The middle stitches will only have one stitch, one single crochet per stitch. So this is the last stitch of row number 4. So we are going to make an increase, and you should have a total of 10 single crochets by the end of this row. So chain 1 and turn your work, and now we are going to start off with an increase. So make 2 single crochets in the first stitch, and then make 9 single crochets over the next 9 stitches. So complete this row, and by the end of this row you should have a total of 11 single crochets. Chain 1, turn your work, and moving on to row number 6, we will be making 10 single crochets in the first 10 stitches, and on the 11th stitch we will make an increase. So first make 1 single crochet in each stitch of the first 10 stitches. Now into the last stitch make an increase, so make 2 single crochets into the last stitch. So by the end of this row you should have a total of 12 single crochets. So complete the 12 single crochets, chain 1, and turn your work. Now moving on to row number 7, we're going to make an increase first, and then into the next 11 stitches we are going to make 11 single crochets, so 1 single crochet per stitch. So you can see that we will have a total of 13 single crochets by the end of this row. So this including the next few rows will have the total count as always 13. So this one including the next 6 rows will have a total count of 13 stitches. Only the increases and decreases and the location of the increase and decrease will change. So row number 8 we are going to start off with a decrease. So to decrease, you insert your hook into the first 2 stitches and pull through all the 3 loops. So you made a decrease here. Now into the next 10 stitches make 1 single crochet in each, and into the last stitch we will do an increase. So we started off with a decrease and we will end it with an increase. So you see the total number of count by the end of this row will remain same, that is the count of 13. So this is the last stitch, so make 2 single crochets in the same stitch because we are making an increase here. And after making the 2 single crochets, chain 1 and turn your work as usual. So now we are moving on to row number 9. Here we are starting off with an increase and we are ending it with a decrease, and in between we have 10 single crochets. So after the increase make 10 single crochets in the next 10 stitches. So after making 10 single crochets in the next 10 stitches, in the last 2 stitches we are going to make a decrease. So when you have 2 stitches remaining, these last 2 stitches we will make a decrease. So insert your hook into the first stitch, pull a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch and pull a loop. When you have 3 loops, you pull through all the 3 loops, and here we made a decrease. Now chain 1 and turn your work. Now we are moving on to row number 10. So here make 1 decrease first, then make 10 single crochets in the next 10 stitches, and in the last stitch we will make an increase. So as you can see here too, the total count remains 13 itself. So into the last stitch now. So this is the last stitch. Don't mistake it, because this last stitch is always a little bit difficult to insert the hook into, but this is the last stitch, and make your 2 single crochets into this last stitch. And here we are done with row number 10. Chain 1 and turn your work. Now we are going to make a decrease first, and next 10 stitches will be just 1 single crochet in 1 stitch, and once you reach the last stitch we will make an increase. And as you can see here too, the total number of stitches by the end of this row remains the same, so you will still have 13 single crochets by the end of this row. So make 2 single crochets. Now chain 1 and turn your work. Now we are going to make 1 increase, so make 2 single crochets in the first stitch. Next 10 stitches just make 1 single crochet in each, and when you reach the last 2 stitches, there we are going to make a decrease, so the total count will again remain 13. So we are here at the last 2 stitches, so make a decrease, insert your hook into the first stitch and then into the next stitch as well. When you have 3 loops in your hook, pull through all of them. Now chain 1 and turn your work. Now we are in row number 13, and here we are going to start off with a decrease. So we are going to decrease by inserting our hook into the first 2 stitches. So into the first stitch, insert your hook, pull a loop, into the next stitch, insert your hook, pull a loop, pull through all 3. Now into the next 10 stitches, make 1 single crochet in each, and into the last 2 stitches you're going to make a decrease. Oh sorry, into the last stitch you're going to make an increase. So we are going to end this row with an increase. So into the last stitch make 2 single crochets, and here too we have a total of 13 single crochets. Now from here on the count of the stitches will reduce as we are about to finish the heart. So the first 11 stitches just make 1 single crochet in each. So make 1 single crochet in each of the first 11 stitches, and you will be left with 2 stitches at the end, and these 2 stitches you are going to make a decrease. So once you make the decrease, you will have a total of 12 single crochets at the end of this row. So from 13 we have now 12 single crochets. Chain 1 and turn. Now here we start off with a decrease, so the first 2 stitches make a decrease, and then make 10 single crochets in the next 10 stitches, and by the end of this row you should be left with a total of 11 single crochets. So as you can see, the count has reduced by 1 in each row. So from 12 we now have 11 single crochets. So after the last stitch, chain 1 and turn your work, and Now we are going to first make 9 single crochets in the first 9 stitches, and into the last stitch we will make a decrease. So the last 2 stitches we will insert our hook into both, pull a loop so that we have 3, and pull through all of them, chain 1 and turn. And now we start off with a decrease, so the first 2 stitches make a decrease, and into the next 8 stitches make 1 single crochet in each. And by the end of this row number 17, you should have a total of 9 single crochets. In the next 2 rows we are going to make a decrease both at the beginning and at the end. So chain 1 and turn. So the first 2 stitches we are going to make a decrease, so insert your hook in the first and into the second and pull through all of them. Next 5 stitches make 1 single crochet in each, and into the last 2 again we are going to make a decrease. So we're starting and ending with a decrease, so that we have a total of 7 single crochets by the end of this row. So decrease at the end as well, chain 1 and turn. We have just 2 more rows left, so in this row also we are going to start and end with a decrease. This is the first decrease. We will make 3 single crochets in between, and into the last 2 stitches again we are going to make a decrease. So you should have a total of 5 single crochets now. So chain 1 and turn, and now into just all the 5 stitches we're just going to make 1 single crochet in each. So this is the last row, and after that we will be done with our half part of the heart. So we will need 2 of these to make the heart pattern. So this is our first side. So chain 1 and trim the yarn, and this is one side of the heart ready. So make a similar using the same pattern, make another one. Just make sure that you don't trim off the tail yarn at the end, because we will need it to stitch the 2 hearts together. These other tail yarns which you have, you can insert it into the existing stitches and stitch them in fully, or here I have just trimmed, inserted it and pulled towards the center and trimmed it off, because this side of the heart will be on the inner side and it will be hidden. So similarly for the other tail yarn also, I have just stitched it in into few of the stitches on the inner side, the side which will be hidden from us, and then just trimmed it off. You can also trim stitch it in fully, that's up to you. So as you can see here, we have just layered them on top of one another, and as I said, for the second heart don't trim off the yarn because we are going to use it to stitch both the hearts together. Place the hearts on top of one another so that they are exactly on top of properly placed on top of one another. Pull this loop through this top layer heart and then make a slip stitch. Make a slip stitch, and after this we are going to insert our hook into both the layers and make a single crochet. So there is no particular stitches available here, so just insert your hook through both the layers and make sure that the layers are aligned properly and you do not stitch the wrong part to the wrong side of the heart. Just make sure both are aligned on top of each other perfectly, and insert through the spacing available between the stitches and keep making single crochets around the heart. So just keep stitching and keep doing this until you have a little bit of space left, because we have to place the stuffing inside through that space. So make these single crochets. There is no particular count on how many single crochets you need to make here. It depends upon how many spaces you are able to insert your hook into this particular pattern. So keep doing this and make sure that the shape comes out nice. And once you have stitched over almost the entire pattern, leave some space. Now we are going to fill it in with our stuffing. So enter the stuffing properly into all the corners of the heart, and after that finish off the remaining stitches. Just join them together and make the single crochets till you reach the first stitch. So once you reach the first stitch, you can make a slip stitch and then trim off. So here our heart is ready, and this tail yarn, you can use a smaller hook and pull the tail yarn to the inner side of the heart and hide it there. So just use a hook and pull this tail yarn inside. So as you can see, we did not have to stitch it in, we just hid it inside. So now we are going to make the border. So for that I'm using this thinner yarn. The details of this yarn and the hook size will also be available in the description, so you can refer there as well. First make a slip knot with this yarn, and this slip knot we are going to pull it through one of the stitches in the boundary of this heart. So just pull it through any stitch. So you can pull it through into any of the boundary stitch. There is no particular position from into which you need to start making the stitches. So now make chain 1. So this first chain 1 acts as the first single crochet. Now into the next stitch, make first 1 single crochet, and then we are going to make a chain 3 picot. So for a chain 3 picot, make a chain of 3, then into the base 2 stitches, here you will have 2 loops here. Insert your hook and pull through both of them, and then pull through the chain 3 loop as well. So this is a chain 3 picot. Now into the next stitch, make 1 single crochet, and into the next stitch alternatingly make the single crochet chain 3 picot. So single crochet followed by a chain of 3. Insert your hook into the base 2 loops and pull through both the loops and pull through the loop of the 3 chains as well. Now again make a single crochet into the next stitch, and then make the single crochet chain 3 picot into the next stitch. So we will be repeating this pattern of 1 single crochet followed by a single crochet chain 3 picot throughout the entire border. So make this pattern for the entire border till you reach the first stitch. So here we are almost at the end, and we have almost reached the first stitch. So make a picot at the first stitch, near the first stitch as well. Then you can chain 1, pull the yarn tight and trim this off. So once you trim it off, you will have two tail yarns at the same place. So you can tie these two tail yarns together, and then like we did before, you can pull the tail yarns inside into the heart pattern itself. So through a stitch nearby, pull the tail yarn to the inner part of the heart. So here, as you can see, this heart pattern is ready. You can use it as it is for a keychain or just as a gift, and you can even stitch in initials on top of this heart if you would like to. And here I'm just making a chain to make the bow for the stick. So I'm using double yarn of the thinner yarn, and then I'm going to first make a slip knot. Make a slip knot using this two strands of yarn, and after that you can make a chain of 40 or whatever length is preferred by you for the bow shape. So make a long chain. So once your chain is done, you can trim it off, trim off the other end as well, and now use a skewer. You can use a chopstick as well. So here I'm using a skewer. Use a skewer and insert it through the bottom of the heart. You can use a hot glue and place a dot of it at the entry point so that the skewer doesn't come off. Now make a bow pattern into the skewer as shown here, and you can place a dab of hot glue into this back side of the bow as well if you would like. And here our hearts are ready, and I really hope you enjoyed today's tutorial and make lovely gifts for your near and dear ones. Do subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon for notifications on new videos, and give me a thumbs up if you found this video useful. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and have a great day.